They call it the game. It is a very big game this year, as it is every year. High noon on Fox. Joel Klatt, Gus Johnson. Gus is going to be worked into a lather for this one because it's an Ohio State-Michigan game. It's just sort of the normal order of business. Ohio State, the number one team in the land, is on the road this year in Ann Arbor, a 10-point favorite. Michigan has won the last 4 meetings. If I said it once, I have said it 1,000 times. Michigan's win last year might have been the biggest jaw dropper that I have seen since we started doing this show back in 2008.
Yes.
Just one of those incomprehensible college football happenings that we still, frankly, don't have a great explanation for. Yeah, Ohio State went on to win the national championship, so all was well in Buckeye land, but this is the one that matters, Dan Rubenstein.
Yeah, I would say mostly all was well in Buckeye land, because after this game last season, ahead of the playoff, things escalated. Things were not great. Ryan Day's job security had to be addressed by the administration, even though he is a ridiculously good and successful coach, a national championship winning coach thereafter that conversation. But you're right, it was a strange game last year, and it has the opportunity to be a strange game this year, even though Michigan has been a better team leading up to this game, whereas they were not all that great last year. They couldn't figure out the forward pass. But, using that interception deep in Ohio State territory last year, they were able to figure out a way to, get some chicken wire and duct tape and figure out a win on the road.
That's right.
I'm very excited to see what version of Michigan we get this year, because I don't think the defense is where it's been, especially when you look at maybe the defensive tackle position that has afforded the Michigan defense so many opportunities against this Ohio State offense, that when you're able to collapse the pocket and hurry up an Ohio State quarterback, that can be very, very good, as we've seen turnovers help to decide this matchup over the years. There's a lot of talent on this Michigan team. They're dealing with some key injuries. Obviously, Justice Haynes has been out for a while. Now Max Bredesen, the fullback / H-back or whatever, he's, I think, pretty doubtful in this game after getting injured. Rod Moore is not going to be playing in this one, who has, played a pretty significant role in this matchup these past few years. Didn't play last year either, I don't believe, but came up with the big interception in 2023. So my question is just how does Michigan build a win this year? Because last year's formula was not replicable. Now, you want to say Ohio State might be a little bit vulnerable on their offensive line. At times, the run game has been less than stellar, but it seems to be moving in the right direction. The way they do this is the way they've been doing it lately, which is pounding it on the ground. I think Jordan Marshall should be in a better place. He didn't play last week. And corralling whoever is playing receiver for Ohio State and whatever their injury status is or isn't, in Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, who've been beat up. Last week, I think, was the Max Clare show against Rutgers. So it's Michigan on defense being pretty much everything, and the ability for Michigan to dictate the rhythm of this game like they've been doing. Michigan's not going to win a 45-41 game. If that's where we are, then something has gone very, very wrong with the Ohio State defense out of nowhere. Right. So it's Michigan's ability to dictate the terms of this matchup, which I don't feel great about. But also, Ohio State hasn't played a team like Michigan, and that's just to say a pretty good Big Ten team in a long time. This has been... I'm going to finish here in just a second, Ty. I'm not going to let you jump in.
No, please, continue.
We don't fully know what this Ohio State team is. I feel like we have a better handle on this Michigan team, but neither one of these teams played Indiana. Neither one of these teams played Oregon. There's just not a lot. Michigan played USC, and that's something, but they didn't do super well. So I sort of doubt Michigan's ability to dictate terms in this one, but I'm not crazy about where Ohio State is in terms of quality competition faced. I like Ohio State here. I just can't build the case for Michigan in the offense against this defense. I like Ohio State.
I have 2 crazy stats, and you were pushing up against one of them. You almost stole my thunder. Thankfully, you stopped a little bit short. Do you know how many combined top 25 teams Ohio State and Michigan have played this season?
Is it 2?
The answer's 3.
3, okay. Texas.
Ohio State played Texas in week 1. That was the only one. Current top 25.
Yeah.
And Michigan played and lost to both Oklahoma and USC. Yeah. And I think you can make a very strong case that each team is playing its toughest opponent of the season. All right?
Okay.
Certainly in this rivalry game, it's a big deal, but when you add on that extra layer, I think it puts things in context. The other thing that I'll mention, and I just kind of happened upon it, I searched around. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this, and I just wanted to give it a little bit more airtime. This is the last game of the regular season, right?
Yes.
We're the full way through now.
Correct.
Julian Sayen's completion percentage is 79.4%.
Absurd.
It's absurd. If that number holds, even if it pulls back a little bit, Julian Sayen, in his first season as a full-time starting quarterback for Ohio State, will break the all-time single-season record for the highest completion percentage in the season. Right now, that belongs to your Bo Nix with a mark of 77.48%. He has that one by like 1/100th of a percentage or something like that over Mac Jones, who previously had the record at Alabama. So there are stakes here not only for Ohio State, not only for Michigan, but also for Julian Sayen in terms of the record book. I have not found a whole lot of people talking about that. His efficiency has been off the charts. His accuracy has been off the charts. Clearly, it helps to have receivers like this, a line like this. I mean, there are definitely things working to Julian Sayen's advantage. But mind you, there are a bunch of other good quarterbacks out there with really good supporting casts who don't have an 80% completion percentage. So clearly the kid is doing something right in, again, his first 12 games as a full-time starter to reach this level of just incredible efficiency. And I think, moreover, something that Ohio State can count on. The quarterback position for a while at Ohio State, I mean, it's always been fine. It's always been very good. Even Will Howard last year, we saw what he did down the stretch in the playoffs. It was far and away the best that we had seen him look all year, and he very much propelled them to a national championship. They are getting quarterback play on a much different level this year with Julian Sayen, to the extent where I feel like they can rely on the pass even more than a year ago. They had great receivers. They've always had them. But now Julian Sayen is much more of a weapon than I can remember in a good long time at Ohio State.
Yeah.
So this is exciting.
Yeah. I fully agree. Should also be noted, Ohio State's offensive line is in a healthier position than it was last season, ahead of last season's game, where they were still figuring things out. It wasn't bad. They did a good job, working the rotation guys into the lineup. Obviously, they won the playoff, but this was still relatively early on in that new look for the Ohio State offensive line against Michigan. And so, I think there were some struggles against what I think was likely a better Michigan defensive line last year because of what they were like inside. But these edge guys seem like they're killer for Michigan. Seem like that is maybe their ceiling. They have a killer ceiling. So that's going to be a huge test for the tackles, who have been very good this year for Ohio State. No, there's a ton here. And I don't know how you feel like if Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith play. Jeremiah Smith has said he's good to go. He'll be playing. We'll see Carnell Tate's status at the time of this recording. I haven't seen any specifics. If they're both not their full selves, how much does this change the way you view this game?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay.
I don't think it does, because I think the best unit on the field is the Ohio State defense. And even if they're at half speed, I still think the second best unit on the field is the Ohio State offense.
Yep.
And so to that point, and to what you mentioned earlier, I have a really hard time building that case for Michigan. Now, famous last words.
Right.
I said the exact same thing last year, and we know what happened in that one. Hopefully for Ohio State fans, we won't see a repeat of that, but strange things happen in rivalry week and certainly in this game.
Yeah.
In Ann Arbor, which definitely plays a role here. I just think Ohio State is more than good enough to stop Michigan's ground game and to force Bryce Underwood to beat them through the air. Your question earlier, well, what's it look like if Michigan wins? It looks like a career day and a heroic effort from Bryce Underwood in order to win this game. And I just don't see that happening. So I am with you. I am on Ohio State minus the 10. And for a good friend, Jimmy, who listens religiously and asked me if maybe I would consider doing this.
Lock of the week.
Ohio State. Here it is.
We're going to lock up Ohio State in rivalry week to get the dub, to go undefeated, and to go into that Big Ten title game against Indiana.
Couple other details that are interesting to me in this one. I really hope, for the sake of Michigan fans, that their red zone script has been a focus this week, because they have not been great in the red zone, and there are going to be moments where Sherrone Moore has to make big decisions. And ordinarily, I'd say, I don't know if field goals are going to beat Ohio State, but after last year, I think you just kind of got to shrug, because they might beat Ohio State. Who knows? The game's in Ann Arbor. The temps are in the 20s, I want to say, around kickoff. Not that this is an Ohio State team that's playing in Florida or Mississippi or something like that that's not used to this. I just don't know how that's going to affect the rhythm of the game. If we have freezing cold quarterback hands, these are teams have played in cold weather this season. So that's not going to alter anything in terms of mindset or comfort. But that is a reality that we're going to have in this game. Whether we get a couple of drops because we've got frigid hands, I don't know. Michigan has had some drop issues this year. I like the pop that they've developed this year, but there is still something to me about Ohio State having more ways to win that I just trust more. Even on the road, I'm going to say, do you have a score? I have like 30-17.
Yeah, I have. There. I had 31-17 jotted down on my sheet.
Oh, this is terrifying. Michigan's winning this game.
It's not good news for you, and it's not good news for Ohio State fans if I'm locking it up. The only thing that I'll add here, and it's my final point, and then we're going to talk about another game at noon, but so much of the storyline coming out of the game last year was how Ohio State sort of tried to play the Michigan way to beat Michigan.
Right.
They tried to out-Michigan them and bully them, and that really wasn't their style of play. They got away from that. After that game, they obviously went on in resounding fashion to rip through the playoffs and win the national championship. I am curious to see what the game plan looks like on the Ohio State side this year, because we know what they've been very good at this season. They've brought that ground game along. They've gotten better at using it, and we will see it to some extent in this game. But clearly what Julian Sain is doing with like a nearly 80% completion percentage is the headliner.
Yes.
And I would like to see them stick to that, work within that, because they are good at it. And let's see them win the Ohio State way and not trying to play outside themselves and be something that they haven't been all year.
It's going to be fascinating. This is going to be great. I mean, the Michigan corners, I think, are up for the task. They play a ton of zone, right? That's been their thing. They build their team around beating Ohio State. And obviously the teams who have had the players to play great zone defense against these receivers last year with both Michigan, and then Texas did a nice job corralling these receivers for the most part. I can't wait. I love that it's going to be frigid temps. That feels right for this matchup. And I can't wait to watch Ohio State against a pretty good team. We haven't seen it in a minute.
I hear you. All right, let's move on.